Okay, so we're talking about digestion today. And so some of the common symptoms that people have with digestion are constipation, diarrhea, abdominal pain, bloating, nausea, gas, um, fatigue. That's a big one that a lot of people don't really associate with digestion. And then malabsorption. So sometimes there will be problems like osteoporosis or mineral imbalances and things like that because just plain your digestive system is not absorbing what you're eating. So so you can write down what your number one complaint is if you want to. My experience, I had poor absorption. I always had a lot of bloating and yeah, I just would never feel like things were moving really well. And so I had to tweak some of the way I ate to kind of solve my problems, at least maintain them. But if I go back to certain ways of eating, they'll come right back. So it's really a love relationship where you have to maintain it and nurture your digestive system. But you think about it, it works hard, almost 24 hours a day. I mean, like we said, how late we eat at night, but it needs to rest. So that's why we were suggesting eating earlier in the day so that the energy doesn't have to be spent digesting when you're sleeping. It can be used for healing and cleaning your brain and putting all the thoughts in the right spot. So all the things that are important for sleep. So I know some things that help me. And so when I was researching and also experimenting with my own self, I kind of created a what helps for people's digestion. So that's what I kind of wanted to share today. So there are 5 short topics, and this won't take too long, but 5 topics to help kind of explain or maybe support digestion that I wanted to talk about. So the first one is digestive rates. So the rate of which food is digested. So if you have, for example, fruit is only, well, no, let's take juice. Let's take the juice that we're drinking right now. 15 minutes, it's already through your digestive system, doing its thing, getting into the cells, nourishing your body. So juice is amazing. It's probably the easiest thing that we can do for our digestion. That's why doing cleanses is helpful, because your digestive system gets a whole clean out break and a rest. Like we call it a food vacation. You don't have to do any work. So that's why if you want to juice, I recommend juicing first thing first before you eat anything in the morning, and then just waiting 15-20 minutes. Then you can have your breakfast if you juice in the mornings. And the next fastest is fruit. So the waterier, the faster. But fruit takes about 15 to 30 minutes to digest.
Okay, go ahead.
So fruit, 15 to 30 minutes. And so fruit, so for example, with this meal that we have here today with grapefruit, the zucchini noodles with the hemp seeds, and then our plant-based dessert, the cookie dough dessert, a lot of people will say that the dessert wasn't here. A lot of people will eat this last, like the dessert. Or if you've seen a lot of times at picnics, people will eat a hamburger and a hot dog, and then they'll have watermelon for dessert. That is like a gut bomb waiting to happen. And I'll show you a little illustration. You always want to eat your watery things first, especially fruit, because it'll just blast right through. Whereas if something like a hamburger is in the way, yeah. Okay, so I'll give you a little illustration to that. But first fastest juice, second is fruit. And then the third fastest is raw vegetables. So 30 to 60 minutes, your body will digest a salad, assuming there's no cheese and, fatty dressing on it. So, or carrot sticks or celery sticks, whatever it is, broccoli.
I love those.
Yeah, really fat. It's easy. It's the enzymes are intact, fiber's there. Your body's like, thanks, I got it. I'll tear that apart and we'll eliminate that pretty quick out of the stomach. Okay, and then the next one is cooked starches and grains. So baked potatoes, sweet potatoes, rice, oats, things like that. Pasta. That takes about 1 to 2 hours. And I think that's because there is not any enzymes left when you cook the food. So your body has to work a little harder kind of put the enzymes where they need to be, make the enzymes, and then start tearing things apart. And then dairy takes 2 hours. And then meat can take 1 to 2 days.
Wow.
Yes. So say that okay, so I'm going to give you a little analogy of a train. I don't know, it's going to be hard to see, but this is your digestive system is like a railroad track, okay? Of course, it would be curved, but I'll just call this a railroad track. Okay, so you have, say you ate eggs and bacon for breakfast. So that, or maybe, yeah, some kind of a meat product, or maybe you had a hamburger or something. So this is a big, like a big lumbering freight car. I don't know how to draw freight cars, so I'm just going to make a box there. And then, do some wheels right here. Okay, now this is going to be just like chugging along very, very slowly. Okay, and then you ate, maybe you had some oranges an hour later. Well, those oranges are going to be like the express. Okay, the express train that I took was kind of like shaped like this. I don't know why.
Going fast.
Yeah, and this is going to smack right into your heavy meat protein meal and sit there. And what's going to happen is it's going to sit there and ferment. Now you have gas building up, you have that ammonia smell. Sometimes that is fermenting food in your gut. What happens when you have fermented food is it starts to kind of irritate the lining of your intestines. So all this is irritated by all of this gas and these chemicals and rotting food. So we can have our whole system here plugged up with like rotting matter. And what happens is several, fast cars going through, well, it's like it will start to bypass. So what happens though is this stuff, because it's getting drier and drier sitting there, it just gets kind of mashed up against the wall. So juice cleansing is great because the juice that we're drinking rehydrates all that, gets it away from the wall, it puffs it back up, then your body can eliminate it. But as it is, some people can have years worth of dried, stuck matter just clogging up the old gears there. So, so what we want to do is, eat according to the rates of digestion. So, for example, you want to eat your fruits first. So again, back to the picnic analogy, eat the watermelon first. It'll speed right through, then eat your hamburger or hot dog if you have to.
This makes so much sense.
Veggie burger, whatever it might be. And then the slower things, move it to the back. The faster things, speed it on through, and there won't be this.
Meat's the caboose.
Exactly. Meat is the caboose. At the end of the day, not in the morning, you want energy, you want to wake up, you want to feel enlivened, and you want energy to go hit the ground running, basically. So the watery fruits, watery foods, smoothies, light. If you want to do grains, it's a lot better than meat in the morning.
What about just eggs?
I mean, it's a heavier protein, so it's going to take several hours to digest.
See, because that's one of my little
Well, you could always experiment. And some people, and you get really used to what you do. So, and I'll give you an example of like an ideal food rate sort of eating if you want to. Okay, so I will get to that. But let's move on to the food combining real quick. So remember the train analogy. Just want to prevent pile up. No pun intended there. Okay, so then we're going to talk about food combining. This is also a really important part because not only is it a collision causing gas and fermentation, but some things, like if you're planting a garden, two things don't like to be next to each other. Same with in our stomachs. Two things, they need a certain enzyme for protein, a certain enzyme for carbohydrates, certain enzyme, and it gets really complicated. But I'm going to give hopefully the simple way to understand this. So in the middle is all your greens Greens are queens. They can go with anything. They're so flexible, just like us women, right? So greens, where the circles overlap, they can share. This one can't share with this one can't share with this one, but they can all share with the greens. You can eat bananas and celery, or spinach and bananas, or oranges and cucumbers. It's cucumber is considered like in the green family because it's not a starchy vegetable. So greens and non-starchy vegetables are like, go with anything. Okay, so the first one we're gonna do is sweet fruits. So this would be your bananas and dates. Okay, and that goes really well with greens. In fact, I really almost always pair these together unless I'm grabbing a banana to go, because these have a higher sugar, so I feel like balancing them with minerals in the greens helps your body, like, not have a little bit of a sugar high. And then next to the sweet fruits, you have the sub acid. So these would be your apples and pears, things that they're not acidic, but they're not sweet either. They're less dense. Like bananas and dates are really dense fruits. The sugar content is more concentrated. So these are okay to add to, like, one of my favorite lunches is celery, apple, and banana. And I just chop them all up, throw them in a bowl. It's very energizing. I don't need to take a nap after that. And it goes right through. It's easy to digest. So those two work well together. And then the ones down here is the acid. So that's going to obviously be your citruses. Citrus and sweet, they don't really like to be together. It doesn't do as well. But you can eat an apple and an orange. They don't interact quite as much, or react quite as much. Okay, on the other side, you have your protein, or plant or animal base. It doesn't matter, just your proteins over here. And then your starches. So again, everything goes with veggies, always. I pretty much try to eat veggies on every meal. These are our bodybuilding keys. So our bones, muscles, cells, everything, rejuvenating, everything is in there. All our minerals is in the veggies. So protein and starches, they don't like to go together. And it's like meat and potatoes, what? That's how we live.
Or a hamburger.
Hamburger, exactly. Or spaghetti meatballs. That's how we live in our culture, but it doesn't really go. And it's not that hard to separate them. You could have your starches at lunch and your protein at dinner, or other way around, and with some veggies. And it's really easy on your digestive system. Some people are rock solid. They don't, they can eat anything, no problems. But some people that need to have a little more care, this might be a good thing to try. And then lastly, melons are all by themselves. But that doesn't mean, like we're talking about the watermelon, just 15 minutes and it's good to go. You're good to eat anything else. But I've done this. I do this a lot. Even still, I know this. But sometimes in the summer, I just can't help it. Like after dinner, we'll eat watermelon. Immediately, I'm just like, oh my goodness, I'm so full. It's just like, because what happened is that watermelon is so fast to digest. That's probably the fastest fruit. And it hits everything and goes, it just sits there and it just starts to react. So melons by themselves. So also, so one of the easy things to think about what goes first is what's watery. So grapes or avocados, which one would you want to eat first?
Grapes.
Yeah. And then watermelons or dates.
Watermelon.
Yeah, exactly. So sugar, the sugary foods before fats is always the best way to do it too. So you eat your fruit before your nuts. Probably, I know there's dried fruit's a little different. Dried fruit is much slower to absorb, so it doesn't cause as much problems. But yeah, so you want to eat your sugary or sweeter foods, and then your fattening foods. Fatter
So where
foods.
would you put avocados in that?
Well, that's a good question. So avocado, I'm gonna grab a knife. Here's something too that I wanted to share with you is foods that you can rub into your skin. Here, I'll just put this a little bit. You have a napkin? I'll get you a napkin. So you can just take a little bit of your avocado and just rub it in. And foods that rub in are going to be the easiest to digest. It's going to nourish your skin. I mean, avocado, this is just straight, avocado oil, but it has the fiber and all the vitamins haven't been stripped out. So this is even better. But see, I mean, it's completely easy to absorb. Yeah. Bananas, same way. Now, if we took see if I can do this with a celery stick, just try to rub celery, or a carrot stick, it's not gonna happen. So the foods that you can rub in are the easiest to digest. Wow. So those are the ones you want to include a lot in your diet too. And oh, pretty. Okay. Yes, they're so good, aren't they? Okay, so that is what I want to say about food combining. Any questions, or pretty straightforward? Okay. It can get a lot more complicated, but I don't like complicated, so that's what I'm going to go with.
So like when you go to the processed foods now, are they kind of in their own little circle?
Yeah. Processed foods, the problem with processed foods is they have no water and they are stripped of all their nutrients. So when you eat it, your body, it doesn't benefit your body like all these foods do. Mm-hmm. It takes away, it's a detriment to your body. So your body now has to fix the problem that we just created. Mm-hmm. As opposed to these, your body's like, yeah, maybe they don't absorb real well, but there's stuff they can use in it. Mm-hmm. It doesn't hurt your body. So processed foods, they really are hard on your digestion because they dilute your stomach acid, they take the water out of your system, they mess up the balances of your chemicals.
pH.
Yeah, of all your minerals and salt.
So one of my questions is, I love the sweet potato chips and like the veggie sticks.
Yeah.
But they're not that great for you, even though they're supposed to be because they're made with veggies, but they've been processed.
Yeah, they've been completely denatured and taken stripped of all their benefits, basically. I mean, they're handy snacks and they're probably better than Doritos. But carrot sticks and veggie sticks would be better, like the real veggies. And sweet potatoes, throw them in the air fryer. Oh my goodness.
I love my sweet potatoes.
Yeah. If any potato, if you boil them first and then put them in the air fryer, it's a game changer. It's so good. So, and then you won't ever miss McDonald's French fries. The stuff, it just leaves a coat in your mouth and it's really good, but then your stomach doesn't thank you later. So anyways, so we're talking about giving a suggestion of an optimal meal plan. This is kind of one that I mostly follow, kind of a raw till 4. So in the morning, it's heavy fruit. Again, those are the speedy ones. You're cleansing in the morning, you have nothing in the way. So I tend to get a lot of fruit, as much as I can, in the mornings. And then I kind of taper off the fruit. I don't eat fruit at night generally, unless it's maybe berries. Berries is easier. But so fruit smoothies or mono meals. A mono meal is just one kind of fruit. Like this grapefruit, you'd have to have like 5 of them, 4 of them. So I don't usually do mono meals very much, and I don't really like grapefruit that much. So, but oranges, I could do that. Apples. So you just need a good amount of the same one kind of food, and your body's such an easy time digesting that. So fruit is really good to do in the morning. It's hydrating and it's cleansing. And then at lunchtime, I might have a little bit of fruit before the lunch, just to get the calories up. And then because eating plant-based, you don't, in your salads and things like that, they're just not calorically dense. So you do need to eat a lot of this, fruit. Sugars, helpful to me. Okay, so in the morning, mono fruits or smoothies or juices, they're fast digesting and they're energizing. So you don't want something to slow you down right when you got up, So then you need stimulants. Then you're addicted to the drugs.
The caffeine.
Yeah.
So what about when you're making a home smoothie? I do this. I put in the pea protein.
Yeah. Smoothies are different. Smoothies, you can get away with a lot more combining because it's already broken down for you. Your stomach doesn't have to work very hard. So you can put chia seeds, flax seeds, even though it's fat and fruit, and greens, you know, carrots, people
Spinach
cut, yeah, people put carrots in their smoothies and all kinds of stuff. You wouldn't want to put roots with fruit because they're complete, like we're talking about rubbing it in. You can't rub in the carrots. But in a smoothie, it's so broken down, so pre-chewed that it's just
your body has
much
an
easier
time to digest.
They're all mixed.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're already mixed together. Yeah. So I think there's a lot more leeway with smoothies.
Okay. My daughter got me, Sam got me on this Shakeology. And she had multiple sacks of it because she bought it from one of her clients, and it was a subscription, so she got it monthly.
Yeah.
And so I have lots of that on hand, and so I put it in my smoothies when I'm making smoothies.
Yeah. I don't know about that. I personally think that the whole food is better, because a lot of powders can be hard. Your body has to then process a lot of powders, and sometimes can be hard on your organs. But I don't know about Shakeology. I don't know if that's how clean it is.
But the pea protein is one of the things that should be a go-to.
Sometimes I do use plant protein if I've worked out hard at the gym, but generally we get plenty of protein. No one is protein deficient if they have enough calories.
Okay.
And it's kind of like a protein craze. People are like, I have 100 grams of protein. Really don't. And in fact, 46, I think, is the amount that women can have, and that's about 10 to 15% of your diet instead of so much that people think they have to have. And what's a good example of this is human breast milk is only about 10% protein, and that is the perfect food to create growth in a human. So just kind of an example of we really actually don't need 70% protein or 50 or.
What about your legumes, like your lentils and chickpeas and?
Yeah, I include those in my diet most of the time, because of the minerals and the. So I like to sprout them, and then eat them sprouted on my salad. So I find they're really easy to digest if you sprout them. But sometimes beans are hard if you
break this casing. Right?
Yeah, sometimes they're gas producing or whatever in beans, and so if you have a hard time with them, you could probably try sprouting first. Soaking them overnight and then germinating them and sprouting them.
Okay.
Yeah, but I eat them in more in the evening because I don't want to be slowed down by the slower digestion. So smoothies or fruits in the morning, and then at noon I could have a little more fruit, and then usually like a big salad with some kind of starches, like potatoes or lentils, sprouts, something like that. Whatever. Sometimes I'll put avocado on it just because it's not real difficult to digest that. Right. But if I eat something heavy, cooked, big sandwiches or something like that, I just feel sluggish and need to take a nap. And then at night is a good time to eat your cooked foods, your cooked vegetables, your protein source. So if it's beans or chicken or fish or whatever you like to eat, and then or your starches. So a lot of times my dinner is a huge plate, like a big salad or sauteed greens or broccoli, and then the whole other side is either rice or air fried potatoes or some kind of potato, and then you're getting just a lot of volume, but and a lot of nutrients. But it's not going to make you stay awake. It's not going to give you indigestion. It's really easy to digest.
Yeah, it's not going to be heavy.
Yeah, and then so but like rice and beans, it's a good mixture, but they're also protein and starch. Sometimes that causes digestive problems for people. So trying to separate starches and proteins have helped me. I don't always do it, and then I don't try not to eat before bed. A lot of times people will get like restless leg syndrome. We eat to have energy, and then we eat before bed, and then we go right to bed, and we wonder why we can't fall asleep, or we're restless, or our minds are running everywhere because we have energy, because we just ate, so it's good to stop eating a couple hours before bed.
So I have the restless leg thing.
Yeah, and sometimes there can be like some supplements and stuff that can help with that. So, anyways, yeah. So, yeah. So the heavier, slower to digest things, end of the day is perfect time for that. Nothing's going to get in. It's not going to get in anything's way. Okay. So we're going to move on to number 4. We're almost done. 2 more things. Problems that people face with digestion. One of the problems is foods. So eggs is so convenient. It's a nice little package of everything you need, but it is very it feeds bacteria, it feeds pathogens, it feeds Epstein-Barr, and there's a lot of links between even bladder infections to eggs, and it's just they're a little bit problematic. For most people, it's one of the highest allergens too, and then allergens can tend to cause wear and tear on the gut lining also, and causing inflammation. So, eggs. I'm just seeing the research, not trying to offend, but I know my mom eats eggs every day, and she just has to have her egg, and I understand, and that's totally fine.
Like the other lady that had to have her cheesecake.
Exactly. Yeah. And dairy also feeds pathogens, and it usually has all the cow hormones because the cow's constantly being pregnant or nursing, obviously. Corn, because probably the MSG or the Monsanto Roundup, what is it called? GMO, yeah, all that. So, and then gluten also obviously is a disruptor, inflammer. And then the chemicals in our foods and the additives. So when you look on a carton and it has words that you have no idea how to pronounce, that all is irritating and inflaming. So those are common. The second one is stress. So I love how, we have a tradition as Christians of saying grace before we eat. And there's actually, I've learned there's studies about just other cultures that don't necessarily thank the Lord for their food, but they take a minute and do some breathing before they eat. And if you calm your body down, your digestion will be more open to working better. And usually we grab it and we run out the door and we're shoving it in as we're, having the coffee and we're off to something. Your body's not going to digest very well. So even standing, I stand a lot sometimes to eat because especially when the kids were little, but sitting down to eat and taking a minute to relax, calm our minds and say grace, that sets your digestion up a lot better.
That's nice to know, though. I mean, it's kind of like a good rule of thumb.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's something called box breathing. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but you breathe in for 4, hold it, breathe out for 4, hold it, breathe in. So it makes a box. And that is a really good way of like calming your nervous system down and getting out of the fight or flight and into the rest and digest, which is really what you want to be. If you're in fight or flight, don't eat. If you're angry, don't eat. If you're in a hurry, don't eat. If you're stressed or scared, don't eat, because what's going to happen is it's going to go in and sit there because you're busy. Your system's busy trying to figure out, do you need to run? The blood is going to your extremities and not to your stomach. And so it's just going to sit there and just have trouble. So we want to just try to avoid eating if we're upset for better digestion. Okay, and then the third one on the problems is too high fats in our diet. So this is something that I experienced when I was trying to up my calories. I'd eat a lot of nuts and seeds and nut butter. It just puts a whole stop on everything because constipation. It causes, just digestive problems because too much fat, it just kind of covers things and the food, as you're trying to digest it. And for some reason it just doesn't work very well. So lowering our fats, increasing the carbohydrates, it's much easier for your body to assimilate what it needs to and release what it doesn't. And what it doesn't need, what we don't need, feeds our bacteria, the healthy bacteria. So we actually need to have that kind of fiber and things. So that high fats, and then the fourth one is eating late at night, which we already talked about. And then some tips on how to help your digestion. One, we just talked about relaxing before we eat. Celery juice, if you have any sort of bacteria in your gut, if you have Epstein-Barr, if you have chronic digestive problems, ulcers, things like that, Celery juice, straight. Not pleasant, not terrible, but first thing in the morning, if you can start with like an 8 to 16 ounce straight celery juice in the morning. And then also, if you have ulcers, cabbage juice is amazing for curing ulcers. You can regenerate, the studies show you can regenerate your whole stomach lining in 3 days.
What?
So it's very high turnover if we take away the offenders.
Wow.
So cabbage juice is very effective for ulcers. And so celery juice kills pathogens that create these bacteria in our stomachs. Let's see. Hydrate. You want to drink a lot, and it gets the things moving that are stuck in there. And then, but just not during meals. So if you drink water during meals, you're diluting your stomach acid, and it's harder for your body to digest the foods. And then ginger, which I have right here. This, grab that knife again. I wanted to do an experiment if you want to. So you take, if you have stomach problems or pain at all, just take, I'm just going to do a little piece because it's a little intense, but take a piece of ginger and just chew it.
I love ginger.
Straight. Oh, you do? Good job. You're
I love ginger.
So just chew it up and then get you some water.
Here,
Okay. So you just chew it up, and it is so, so good for your stomach. It soothes all the stomach pains and things like that. And then, so ginger, straight ginger, you can chew on it, you can make a tea out of it, you can add it to your smoothies or your soups, whatever. However you can get the ginger in is really good. It also helps for hormones.
Really?
Pain, it's a natural pain reliever, all kinds of stuff. And then we have mint. So after you've burned the daylights out of your mouth with the ginger, you can take some mint and just chew on that, and it has a lot of soothing properties for your stomach lining.
So Sam carries mint in her purse.
Like this kind? Or the essential oil? Yeah.
She puts a drop on her tongue.
Yeah. Yep. And then let's see, ginger, mint, and then aloe. So here is an aloe vera. This was in our smoothies this week. And so what you want to do is just, if you have digestive problems too, you can do this at night. You can just take about a couple inches, and you don't want to eat the peel. It's vile. It's really bitter. And then so you see this gel in the middle, and then you just cut the peel off, and then you can put this in your blender with a little water. You can add it to your smoothies every morning. See how it's laying? Yeah. You can feel it. It's really good for your skin, of course, traditionally.
Well, we have some friends down in Lake Havasu, and she is Philippine, and she buys this and puts it in her hair.
Oh, interesting. Oh, fun. Never heard that. Okay,
so
but this is
like?
It's very bitter.
Oh,
well, it's not as bitter it's not.
So this is one you can put on your skin.
Shiloh and I were making the smoothies with this morning, and she said, it smells like macaroni and cheese. I don't know why she said that. That's a little bit. But you can eat it. Yeah. It's a little bitter, but it's not terrible. And it's very, very soothing, just like it soothes your skin burns. It soothes the
inside. So it'd be great for ulcers.
Yeah, and inflammation, heartburn, all that stuff probably. I don't know about that. Okay. So mint, ginger, and aloe, and then having food vacations sometimes periodically. You can do a day or a meal of just giving your system a break and drinking juices or water. And then if you have to, take enzymes. But I'm not really familiar with which kind is the best enzyme. I know that papaya, I think the papaya peel, I've taken that before. Yeah, and so those are some tips on how having a healthy digestion. So I hope that was
really
interesting.
like that idea.